right.
So
What's
wait,
going
no,
on? Oh, oh.
no one has outside sources. Just to clarify,
Outside sources.
like no one's gonna be like, "Oh, I was reading this the other day and I want to talk about it" or something.
That's
Oh
usually I
no.
too.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
mean,
Well,
I do have I know how to start it. I know how to start it. I know how I'm gonna start it. All right.
got you. Go
All right.
ahead.
Sarah, you do it this time.
He always gets you with it. I'm gonna do Will's the
I
most
was about to
animated.
go. I was about to go too. Uh,
The yo, what's going on? That's How You Feel podcast. My two
yeah.
co-hosts, Sarah and Will. We're gonna start off like this. Will, how you doing?
Hey, I like that
Energy.
intro.
You know,
I'm doing good today. It's a good day. It's a good day to be alive. It's a good day to be here on the pod with you guys. I'm in good spirits. I'm in good spirits. I can't complain.
I'm hot and irritable. Like for real, it's just all the time. I was reading that we're going through a heat wave, which makes sense because the last couple of days I've been out of it. Like, and the heat makes me lazy personally, so I've just been drained.
Mm.
I don't know. I can't wait for this heat wave to be over. What's up with you, Will? I mean, Brandon, my bad.
I'm chilling.
This is a reoccurring thing for you.
Okay.
I can't even be mad at it.
Yeah.
Well, we gonna tag. We gonna tag how many times we've been chilling.
Yeah, facts.
Well,
I think
I might put a compilation up there.
yeah, but
Like,
I mean,
how you
the
feeling?
same
Chilling.
face every time too. Like, like that's it, straight face. That's good though. Better to be chilling than stressed. So today,
Yo, I actually want to ask y'all starting off
are you
today.
drinking soda? I'm sorry, Will. Was that soda?
Nah, is that soda?
Nah,
What
that's
type of soda is that?
poison.
It's
What
poison.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be drinking soda.
My fault.
We gonna. Oh, there you go.
Hey, your boy came
Eat to
prepared with the
live. There you go.
bevs.
We gonna talk
With
about
the
food one of
bevs.
these days.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good pod. That's gonna be a good pod. But today, we want to kick it off like this. So, have you guys seen Nicki Minaj's baby bump picture reveal that was circulating on the interwebs this past week?
Yeah, the yellow hair.
I got a glimpse of it.
Uh,
I didn't think it was the glimpse. Well, I don't know how many pictures you're talking about. I got a glimpse of a picture, which.
I think it was one.
Why? What's up?
Nah, I mean it was hot news, I guess. I really didn't know that people were so fascinated with Nicki Minaj getting pregnant. I mean, I know she's
Of
with her
course they
dude.
would
The
be.
Barbs. Come on.
I mean,
They
yeah, they were
don't play.
celebrating like they just won a chip. Like I was like, all right, but
Is it is this part of the topics we're supposed to talk about, or no?
I see what he's
it's
doing with
going in.
it.
It's
Okay,
going
no,
in.
because I'm about to
But-
say because depending on where we go, you might open a can of worms that takes us.
Oh, with the barbs and all that.
Nah, not even the barbs. Just Nicki Minaj and like who her man is and.
Oh no. I'm not even.
Like,
I don't even want to touch on that because it is what it is.
No.
Seems like
I'm just saying you know, and I know, and Sarah might know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
You talking about Nicki?
Yeah.
I would hurry up through this little segue. So.
Yeah, I'm a tread lightly. I'm a tiptoe.
Babies. That's what
yeah.
you was
So
getting
babies,
to.
baby, she's pregnant. She revealed her baby bump, and people was just congratulating her. I guess the bars was celebrating like they won the chip, and and like it had me. A lot of people was like coming for Nicki, and it was funny. It was funny to me, not funny like ha ha I'm laughing, but funny because it's like we live in an age where it's like everything has become so sensitive, but desensitized at the same time. Like, and like when I saw comments of people like just bringing negative energy towards like her and the baby because of everything that has happened in the time of her career, like I understand she's a celebrity, so it comes with the territory and the job. But at the same time, like damn, because I know personally a lot of people who have gotten pregnant, um, revealing pregnancies and stuff like that, and I'm just like, I just wouldn't want that like that same energy for people that I know.
Did it get you
'Cause
thinking about your future?
a
Do y'all want
little
kids?
bit, a little bit.
Do you two want
We
kids?
talked about it. We talked about it in the last pod. Like I
Refresh
do.
my memory.
I said that I do,
Okay.
but there's a lot that has to happen. That
Two
has
in
to
the
be.
possible. We're playing spades out here. Two in the possible. I know I want two for sure. Hopefully close in age because I
Do
grew
you
up
want to
with
for
7.
real?
Oh yeah, why
Are
not? Why
you
wouldn't
are
I?
you? Because some people be like, yeah, I want to, but end up getting 2 daughters or something. Then you're like, nah, let's try for the third. Let's hope it's a boy.
That's why I
Like
said two in the possible.
oh,
You
and
Oh,
play
yo,
spades.
impossible. Okay, I didn't hear the possible part. Got
yo,
you.
I don't know how to play spades. That's a whole nother
Oh no,
I don't
conversation
either.
for a whole nother.
You're black.
I
I
played it
know.
once and
We gonna
learned it
talk about
once.
it. We gonna talk
I
about it.
I know how to play a little bit. I ain't the best, but I can play. I could be on your team. We
It don't look like a fun game.
what?
It does not
Nah, it
look
looks
fun
You're not
at
lit.
playing with the right
all.
people.
It looks lit.
Maybe every time I see someone play spades, it's about to be a fight. Is all I know.
That's why it's fun.
That's not fun to be fighting people.
Exactly.
Nah. But yeah, what was you about to say? But yeah, no. As far as the kids, I know for sure that I definitely want at least one. But if I had it my way, it'd be 2 and possibly 3. Hopefully, all close in age. Because I grew up 7 years by myself before I had my first siblings, and they happened to both come in the same year. But not fun growing up. So hopefully, if I could, that's what I want.
That's
What about you,
crazy.
Sarah? I don't think you ever really gave an answer on what you wanted.
I don't know, to be honest with you, because first of all, you two don't have to carry no children, so it's easy for men to be like, yeah, I want kids.
I guess there's a lot of pressure on men to be parents that you don't give us credit for. So
Who don't give
women and women. So we
I
can
could
go
flip
down that
this
road.
laptop.
We can go down that road if you like. I'll give you all the credit in the world. I know all. Trust me. I don't understand the struggles y'all go through, but I definitely can empathize with them. But
there are machines that like they made for men so that they can feel like the pain of childbirth.
yeah,
You should try that.
why should I try it?
Just because I feel like you would appreciate women more.
I appreciate women right now.
So how you
That's
figure
that's a very-
I
that's a
don't
very-
appreciate men and their fatherhood?
Because you just said what you said.
Look.
Because I said we gotta carry the kid. That's a
And
fact.
to the point of what you
Yeah,
said,
I know you
right?
did. I never discredited that. You
And
came
to the
out.
point-
It's easy for men to say. I don't think like y'all be acting like men ain't in the baby's lives.
No, I'm talking about literally in terms of carrying a child, and because that Black women are dying at hospitals for literally no reason.
So
Well,
are
not a
you
reason
scared
that I know.
to have a child?
100%. And then I'm like, if I don't go to a hospital, I would have to do a natural birth with no medication and all that craziness.
You could do a natural birth with medication.
Oh yeah.
Most
Wait,
people that do natural births, I think that they have at least a trusted doctor come to the house and help them through. They don't just do it on their own. I don't think.
No,
Doula.
they have midwives and doulas, yeah, but they don't actually have like epidurals, which is like to numb the pain.
Mhm.
Unless, midwives might at your request, but usually that defeats the purpose. Like most people who want midwives and doulas don't want medication, so
Yeah,
unless it's like an emergency or whatever, and then they have to go to the hospital. But I don't know, childbirth seems crazy to me. It seems like a lot of work. It's a commitment for real.
I mean, you don't have to have the child.
I don't. I could
We
adopt.
live in a day and age where, yeah, you could adopt. You could have what do they call it?
Surrogate?
Surrogate. You can have a surrogate. You don't
How
have
much
to carry.
is an adoption? I just learned adoption was a crazy amount of money.
It is, and you got to have all these like prerequisites and did I say that word right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
prerequisites.
Prerequisites in place before they even give you the child. It's a lot.
It makes sense though.
Mhm. No, it's a fact that's highly important, especially given the history of foster care and adoption. Like that's a dark topic. Like,
Foster care
I'm
is
glad that they have the guidelines they
terrible.
do. Yeah.
Foster care is horrible.
like
Yeah.
literally, you know that there are privatized foster care systems, just like there
It's
are
privatized
privatized foster
anything.
care. I mean, just like there's privatized prisons. That's
Yeah, yeah.
ridiculous. You are shoving kids into
Hmm.
like homes of crackheads and whatnot, or molesters or abusers or whatever, just to get $1. It's so wild. I hate
Yeah.
this. I hate
But
everything.
real quick, because I don't want to like stray too far away from your comment, Sarah. When you
Okay.
said, "Oh, well, you guys don't have to deliver the child," all right, so boom, it takes two to tango. There is no,
You
there
guys
is
are
no.
taking this fact way too
Hold
serious right
on,
now.
hold on. I'm just saying. I'm gonna get off it. I'm not gonna stay too long on it. There's no spark without the ignition. You feel me? There's no spark without the gas. Um,
What she said wasn't necessarily
What
wrong,
does that mean?
but at the
what I
same
mean is
time,
like what I'm gonna say is just that essentially you guys go through the pain and the you know the weight of carrying and bearing and giving birth, but men we have to facilitate. We have to be a facilitator um for an X number amount of years for you, the baby, ourselves, our future life, our lifestyles, all that.
that could be
So
argued to
that
be an outdated sentiment.
yes,
But
yes, of course, but doing it right,
that is that.
being a man, you know what I mean?
Y'all
Like,
turn everything into a gender
No,
war.
we don't. We really don't.
I
It,
literally stated a
I would
fact
love
of life,
I
and
would
and y'all are like, "But fathers do this." I'm like, "Damn, I ain't saying
it's
nothing
a
about
fact, it's a fact
fathers."
of life that y'all go through the pain, but it's not. I don't think that a mother or a father. I don't think that if you're doing it right, that it should ever be implied that one has it harder than the other if you're both doing it right. Obviously, the
thank
pain
you.
part. Obviously, you're going through pain, so I'm not taking that away from you. But to say that fathers don't have it easy as a parent, that's not right. So
I don't feel
um,
like I gave that implication.
you did, but at the
Y'all
same,
interpreted
I
it
would love to have,
crazy.
I would love to have a episode centered around new age feminism. But yes, um, I'm not saying that you meant it that way, but that is what it's implied when it's said, and you may not have meant it, but it's there are a lot of women out here, and a lot of them do mean that. So,
I feel
and vice
like
versa. So
I feel like people are very defensive because
it's
if
not
I was a
defensive.
guy, it would probably be easier for me to say, "Oh yeah, I would love to have a kid," more than it would be for
No,
the
it wouldn't.
person
I,
actually
you know how
going
many
through
women?
it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't wait to be a mom.
Oh yeah, I
That's
know,
a
but
fact.
I'm saying me, which is why I said it like that. Because if I know me personally, if I was a man, I'd
You
probably
think that
be.
there's, like I said, there's a
I
lot of
mean, the world may
pressures.
never know.
There's a lot
I'm
of pressure.
not
I'm
saying
telling
doubt
you
it.
right now, as a guy, like I'm telling you right now, like I want kids, but it's scary. It's a lot of pressure
Of
on a
course, it's
man to be
scary.
there and to provide. Like Will said, like you guys say it. I say it's outdated, but yes, it's a lot of pressure for a man to step up to the plate. You got to be financially ready. You got to be emotionally ready. You have to have a lot of things. That's pressure, and that's why a lot of parents or a lot of fathers, the ones that don't stay around, they're not ready for it, and they bail out because they're scared. So it's not easy for either party. That's what I'm saying. As a guy, I'm telling you this. It wouldn't be easy to say.
I didn't think it
Uh,
was easy. Um, I don't think it's easy at all, period, for anybody. But I'm just basing what I said off of my possibilities because I would be the one pushing out a child unless I adopt or I wouldn't do a surrogate thing. I think that's the most expensive option. Do you guys feel like I hear this a lot that people say, you feel like once the kid is 18, like that's not my job no more, basically. Like I ain't gotta worry about that kid no
um,
more.
your kid is your kid until the day you die. Like
I just
yeah,
hate that statement.
like I feel like to that
Kids believe
statement,
that shit. I can't
kids
wait till I
believe,
turn 18.
of course,
When
like
they turn
Kids
18, and
like
kids just want to be
there was
grown.
probably exactly there was probably a moment in all of our lives we was like, yo, I can't wait to get the fuck out of here. I can't wait. Like I did that a couple times, but now I regret that. Holistically regret that. But to your point, like I just feel like I feel personally that when it comes to that sentiment, like yo, like okay, you legally by law, it's the child is 18, seen as an adult. Like you no longer have to do like certain parental things that is designated to you as a parent. But we live in a different day and time as far as socio economic economically. Sorry, um, and like people are not. It's not that easy to get out and get on be on your own at a younger age like it used to be in the past. Like, cause my mom and my aunt, they was out at like 18 for real. So they was really able to follow those I guess social norms or whatever. But even after that, like when your kid is to an age where they can support themselves and build their life, like you should. I feel like your parentship, your parental ship should evolve. Like you shouldn't just be like, oh, well, I did my job, I'm done. No, it should evolve into you counseling them, into you guiding them the right ways. So whatever they decide to do, you're there to be like an ear or that 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 confidant in guidance. Like and to not do that and just be like, oh, I did my job, I'm done. Like I don't know you, like had that sentiment, that's wild to me. Like then that means you never meant to be a parent, like because you don't understand whole like long term
It's case
that
by case.
means.
It's case by case. So there are those parents that do you turn 18 and they're ready to kick you out. There's some
Got to pay
parents,
rent.
there's some parents where before you're 18, like they kick you to the curb, and I don't know. Sometimes people will come back and say that was the best thing my parent could ever done for me. So it's case by case. I can't speak on everybody's situation. I don't think that if you're raising your kid is doing right, going to school and shit like that. He has a job. I don't think at 18 you should just be like, oh, like yeah, like you're 18, so um I'm not going to provide for you, the way I used to. Like I still think as long as your kid needs you, that you should be there for them and gradually help them get on their feet and out the door. Shouldn't just push them through. I don't know how often this happens though. I don't know if you had a percentage or I don't know that it would be higher that when you turn 18, the parents kicking you to the curb. I don't know. So I think it's also a gender thing too. I noticed a lot of women I speak to tell me that their parents are harder on them, and the boys are usually pampered and allowed to stay, and they don't have to do anything, where the girl would have to do a lot of the cleaning and stuff like that, or be pushed away, like maybe not kicked out, but pushed to the point where they want to leave.
Yeah,
More
and
so.
they're taught to be when you put it like that, and the fact that like girls would have to clean and cook and stuff like that, they're taught to be more self-sufficient if the guy or if the boy or if the son doesn't have to do anything, because they're in their head, they're like, all right, I already know how to clean, cook, clean, whatever. I could do this on my own by myself in my own crib. And the boys, most boys I know are like pretty helpless when it comes to like laundry and cooking and stuff like that. It's
Most? That's
yeah.
crazy. That's easy
I
to me. What? Laundry? You can't do laundry, bro. Can't
Wait, have
cook.
you ever
Hey,
talked
but
to a freshman in college?
I
yeah,
was a
I've
freshman in
seen it.
college.
I've
Dormant?
seen it.
Well, you
It's
did
wild.
dorm.
Yeah.
But I'm
Well, not
saying
my
like,
freshman year, no, but
okay,
um, I
that
feel
laundry room is crazy when you when
yeah,
you talk to
but
those boys.
I don't know.
A lot of them got a
That's
lot
a
of them got the
parental issue.
shorties doing it for them.
That's a parental issue.
It is.
I meant to ask y'all this before when we were talking about midwives. So like when a woman does a home birth or natural birth or whatever, she has to give birth in a pool of water, usually like a little tub or something. I don't know what the correct name of the tub is, but it's basically like a little pool in your house. And her typically her baby father would like sit he would have her sit in between his legs and kind of like rub her belly from the back, if that makes sense. Do y'all see the visual? Will
Okay.
you be comfortable for your girl to have a home birth and do that with her? Because all
I'm
the blood and sometimes poop comes out when you have a baby. I just learned that too.
um okay, well, besides all of that, what you just said, I am pro home births only because I like know a list of women who have uh outstanding back problems because of epidurals and just
Me
the treatments that they
too.
have.
That's
Facts.
crazy. And they're all black.
Facts. Facts. And I'm like, when they tell me these things, especially when it's like a group of them saying like, "Oh yeah, I got an epidural and like my back is not the same," I'm like, "Yo, you're mad young. Like, what are you? What that you don't? That's not that don't strike you as odd." And they like, "Well, it is what it is. I didn't want to take the pain." And I was like,
The
"So
person I spoke to actually, like, she doesn't have permanent back issues, not that I know of, but like when she got her epidural, I think she said like they split a disc in her back or
What the
something
hell?
like
Wait,
that.
what is this? An epidural?
so
Epidural is a shot in your back that they give you to numb you from the waist down so it's not painful when you give birth
push,
vaginally. Yeah.
yeah." So basically, right? The reason, the whole reason for an epidural. I'm not trying to
Well,
get
no,
deep, but
I figured that's what it was, but I wasn't sure the proper name. So I you know,
no,
It's just a
I'm not going
numbing
through the history. I'm
substance.
not going to go through the
I
history
know,
of the
but I don't
epidural.
want you to take too long on to go through that.
I'm not. So basically, naturally, women are not supposed to give birth on their backs
I read
because of
that too.
gravity. Like gravity, like you when you put up on a holster, you're defying the laws of gravity because the baby has to come out down, not however it comes out. I don't know, but so yeah, so when you even if you don't get an epidural and you go to the hospital and you give birth, like you still compromise your spine as a woman when you give birth because of the way they position you. So at home with a home birth, that's kind of mediated because they have the woman squat and push out, and it's easier because you're
Squat.
using your
I've
squat
never
and,
seen a
and push.
home birth like that. They would
Well,
sit.
from what I've seen, they have them squat, and they because it's you have more control when you're using your legs and not your back. It's easier to push out. Not to say there's not gonna be no pain, but it's easier to push it out, and
Well,
it
yeah,
has less.
most animals are standing up. So
Exactly.
but because I know you're trying to avoid answering this question. Would you or would you not do what Sarah asked?
Yeah, are y'all getting in the bloody pool or what?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to pray and dive in. You feel me? Just
That's
dive in.
your role would be to try to calm whoever the woman is down as best as you could. That I feel like, oh my God, it's a tough scene.
I mean, but that's what
if I
you're
had
supposed
to, I
to
would
do.
do it. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't know too much about home births. I do know. I've read into them a little bit, but
I don't know too
I
much
wouldn't be
either.
against it. I never really saw what you depicted for us to envision. But if that was the case, I guess I'd have no choice. There's a shower. We have showers, so it's not like I gotta be dirty forever. But yeah, why were you asking?
No, it's just it's not a common thing for people to give home births, and most people don't know like what it entails.
Most people don't know, yeah, like with birth in general, like what comes out of your body when you guys are pushing. So like I didn't I think I was.
Have y'all seen any videos of women giving birth?
Unfortunately,
Yep.
I have too.
I'm not gonna.
I always do. You gotta learn.
I've
This is
also
about to
heard
be a future.
stories. I've also heard stories of parents passing out while
Like the
watching.
father or like the woman?
No, the father. Like as far as
Yeah,
especially when they give C-sections and they remove the organs like that.
remove the organs.
What do you think happens when they give
Yes.
C-section?
Yes.
They take your insides and put them on the table and they get the baby out and they put them back in. Did you not know that? That's crazy, right? That's crazy.
Fuck that.
So,
I'm out. I'm walking out. I'm walking out.
Someone told me it was like they cut your stomach, obviously, because that's where the baby's at. And then, like, I don't know, they just take out the baby.
No, they take your intestines out because they got to get everything that's in the way. They put it all on the table.
How you gonna reattach an organ?
I'm good.
I know they take the placenta out if that's what you're talking about. But they
No,
don't put that back in.
no, they take out
They
the
really do
they
take
take
out
out
your organs.
they
They take
take out
out
your
your
organs.
Oh
intestines.
nah, I gotta watch a
And
video.
the intestines, I don't think they detach them. I just think you know how long they are. They move them and put them to the side, and they move everything else around, and then they take the baby out.
I
And
was a C-section baby.
sometimes C-sections are like you have no choice. Like I had a brother
Yeah,
who
because they can't
he
push.
was coming out with the umbilical cord strapped around his
It's
neck, and
breached.
he wouldn't have been able, he would have died. So he had no choice. So
That's
sometimes
common.
so that my biggest fear, one of my biggest fears is having, you know, a wife or a girlfriend, you know, and losing her the baby to childbirth. Like that's like one of my biggest fears ever. Like imagine
It's
that.
scary.
Yeah, so it
And
happens all the time.
yeah,
So,
I was gonna say it's a shame that it's so common,
yeah.
but it is, which is why I've been like looking up home birth recently because I didn't hear about this whole like Black women being marginalized in like health institutions until recently, actually, until probably earlier 2020. No, actually, until Beyonce and Serena Williams talked about it because apparently they had pretty bad birthing situations as well. But yeah, that's how I started looking up home birth and stuff. And then Brandon, you were the one who told me last time like they charge you to hold your child on the
So
hospital
there's
bill.
like this. You have to ask. I forgot what the term was. Apparently, when you're in the hospital, you have to ask them for like this a special like a receipt or like this document, because if you don't ask them for like a specific,
Like an
um,
itemized bill,
yeah,
I'm assuming.
they'll put everything. They'll put all this stuff on there and send it to you, and it's like you see things like skin to skin contact, or they charge they charge the mother to hold her child, like, you know, stuff like that. Like when you first give birth, like they'll charge when they hand the mother the child, they charge you for that. They charge the father for skin to skin contact. Like they that's all stuff on that bill. And most of the time it happens because you're unaware and you get the bill after the fact and you see all of it there, as opposed to if you ask for it straight up, you can just like that. This stuff has to be removed. And a lot of times they remove it because they know it's bullshit. But yeah, they get you on that. Like that's wild. So
That is crazy. I wonder how much the difference is between a home birth and a hospital birth.
I
A
don't know.
hospital birth
Free
without
99.
insurance.
It's not free, bro. It's
It's
not
not
free.
free, but you got to pay for the doula and all that. You got to pay for
Yeah,
the
but I know that
midwife
it
and all
costs
that.
like $16,000, $20,000 to have a child. So if you don't got that, obviously you're paying that monthly. But unless you got it like that, but that's wild.
I'm sure it is much cheaper to go the midwife route, but I don't know. It just seems like because it's pretty uncommon still these days. I don't know how likely I'd be to do it, but it's definitely a possibility at this point because I ain't trying to die on no hospital bed either. Like that's crazy. I also heard that C-sections were easier. I don't know if this is gonna make sense, but C-sections are easier on women because they don't have to push and like they're literally doing anything. They just lay on their
Probably
back
easier for
and
the
it's an
birth.
operation.
Probably
Oh
easier
yeah,
for the
that's
birth,
like.
but the healing, and that's I've
Oh
heard
yeah,
that's
no, the
I've heard
healing
that's
I heard
tougher.
was terrible too.
Plus,
Yeah.
if you ever wanted to have a natural birth, you get a C-section, you can't,
What?
because then if you get a C-section, you can no longer have a natural birth.
Ever in life?
You risk popping, exploding. Like that
But
wound never goes away. Like they stitch it up and it heals, but it's
Nice.
always a risk that it opens up. So if you're pushing, you can push and then you'll bleed out on the bed. That's why
this
they
is
say,
a fact.
yes, this happens. So people have done it. It's dangerous though. You're risking your life if you try to do that. So
I'm thinking of it like it's a scar, like it's a regular
yeah, but
scar.
the way they cut it, it's so close. Like, you know how they say, like when you push like that,
Yeah.
that all that's being like that, it's a wrist that'll tear open. It'll rip open and you'll start to bleed out.
My
And then
God.
so that's why they say, like, once you have a C-section, it's pretty much like you can't have another natural birth. So
Dang.
That's
Hospitals are
tough.
scams. Hospitals are
That's tough.
scams at all costs. Like, and now it got me thinking too about like pregnancy warnings between boys and girls, like at the time of the birds and the bees conversation and what we each get told. Like, I know for girls, it's stress that we don't get pregnant, as if we just get pregnant by ourselves, and not so often with boys, unless your parents in particular stress that. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying you two
I've never
specifically.
had the birds and the bees talk.
Same, me either. But I know that that agenda gets pushed on girls a lot.
I don't
That's
think
so
that happens
weird.
anymore because I think certain parents probably do. I know maybe I did, but it wasn't by my parents. It was by like an aunt or an uncle, or not even really an aunt or an uncle, but I was young, so I guess I kind of got a birds and the bees talk. But most kids in today's generation, they get their knowledge on sex watching porn. So that's how they grow up in this day and age. So a lot of girls, I don't watch porn, I don't watch, and then yes, they do. Like, so a lot of girls are
It's on
ashamed to
Twitter
say.
at this point. Like it's
Twitter,
everywhere you
Twitter is
look.
wild.
Like
Twitter is wild. Like they just be like straight up right there on it. And like,
crazy.
wow.
Just
Like,
on your timeline in the
so
middle of everything.
some people, I guess, like have a restricted where they can't see stuff
You
like
could
that.
do that, yeah.
But yeah, that's so crazy to me. Like, but whatever.
No,
And
we
it's
should
like it's
bring
almost
that
like the
back.
parent. It's almost like the parent has to like do like cleanup. You feel me? Like, okay, so you saw this. All right, so let's break this down and like tell you how this. You know what I mean? How it really goes down.
But no, they don't, because
But
no kid is
yeah,
going to tell them that they're watching porn.
that's true.
That's facts.
So
Depending on
parents,
the relationship.
a lot of parents, try to avoid that talk for as long as possible, unless you like,
It has to be
unless you a certain,
uncomfortable.
like, I know, huh?
It has to be uncomfortable. I gotta believe it is.
I don't think I don't think my father ever had that talk with me. As a matter of fact, he found out I wasn't a virgin when I was already in college. So um I just wasn't something. I was like, hey dad, like I'm having sex. Like it was not something that like you just
He
as a kid.
probably assumed too if you were already in
I
college.
don't
Like,
know what
oh,
he assumed. So, but I wasn't saying nothing. Um, so
yeah,
it
it's awkward.
yeah. So
It it's funny. It can be funny. It can be very funny.
Funny? How's it funny?
Um,
You gotta go in
just
there with a whole lesson plan if you're about to teach
nah,
your
just
kids about the birds and the bees.
yeah, like the reaction from the parents, like or like the ways and in which they try to do it. It's like yo, like like talk to your kid. But I understand it's kind of like a mirror. It's almost like a glimpse in looking at your kid in an adult way, and then you like, oh snap, and it's kind of like you gotta switch up you know what I mean, how you talk to them for a second, just so they can understand it, and then you gotta continue being a parent again, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
You
that's
talk
the
about
that's the
adult things to your child, and it's
yeah,
like it gets confusing. I
and it's
think
like yo,
that,
go clean your room, like
yeah, yeah.
you
I
know what
don't
I
know.
mean.
Did you guys have sex ed in your like schools, high schools, middle schools, or something?
I don't think it was called. Was it called sex ed? It might have been. I don't think it was called sex ed. But
I
yes,
had one class in
I had one
elementary
in
school. That's
one in
it.
middle and one in college. One in high school. One in
We
junior high.
had we had health in high school, and it was the biggest joke of my life.
It was
It
called
was
health.
terrible.
So yes,
Yeah,
we had a sex education portion of it
yeah,
in middle.
yeah. It
And
was like a chapter or whatever
yeah,
in health. But I never had that chapter. Now that I think of, oh no, we talked about condoms once. And I remember some boy was like, wait, condoms had an expiration date? And he pulled out a condom
I
to
never
double
knew.
check.
I never knew.
Yeah.
You know how I
I
found
was the
out?
one who told him. I was like, you should name your child after me.
I never knew. I never knew. I found out opening it. I'm like, yo, this shit is disgusting. Like I didn't know.
It was like dried out.
Yo, they look. I don't know. It looks weird. It
Yeah.
feels weird too. And it's just like who who knew? Like who honestly knows that?
It is a weird thing to be
So
like, because you associate that with food most of the time, not with inanimate objects like condoms or whatever.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, yeah, we don't need it. I don't know. I never knew. So I'm also not
Yo,
very familiar with like all the different types of condoms and stuff like that. So I just was ignorant to a lot of facts about condoms. So
There should be sex ed in schools. We had one actually at like when I went to WCC, and I'm like, I think it's a little
oh
too late. Yeah, Westchester Community College. I was like, I think
yeah,
it's a little too late to be doing this sex ed thing. And it's actually Planned Parenthood came in, which was cool
it's
because the whole,
possible, but you're
yeah,
young. Like I know a lot of most kids like around 12, 13 is when they start having sex.
13.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
you know, savages. The average number I
yo,
get is
Um,
16.
Nah, a lot of
That's
kids, 12, 13, 14, that's around the age
I'm
where a
just
lot of
picturing like I know someone who's
yo. She said,
13.
savages. Like
That
what?
sounded crazy.
is that
I feel like the average is 16.
you think that's the average?
I guess I'm just obviously averaging the people that I've asked, but
I know a girl who she was in 8th grade and she already had in 8th grade about 2 or 3 abortions. So like it starts young.
dang.
It starts young, and you got. I knew these two. It was a couple since there's a couple from 6th grade all the way up until like I want to say juniors, and that's when they broke it off. But like it starts young, younger than most people want to believe, because then that means that their child might, or like their little brother might, or their little sister or cousin might be doing it. So they kind of like, no, that's not. But yeah, a lot of kids like they don't tell you, of course, but they find ways. I'm not ignorant to that fact at all. So yes, it starts very young, and but at the same time, a lot of kids don't have sex. A lot of kids, you're right. Some kids start at 16, 17. Some kids don't lose their virginity until college, and then so you never know when somebody is going to do it. But I think on average, most people, most kids are starting around like 12, 13, 14. So and then nowadays when you have the internet and you're looking at like girls who are like 15 and have like bodies of like 18, 19-year-olds, you can't even really tell sometimes until like they open their mouth. Like you don't know. There's some boys that like are very fast, because boys are, they get like this little urge, sexually active, and they get like this little urge to like just whatever, and then the curiosity runs, and then sometimes they got parents, they got friends or whoever as an influence, and they go out and try these certain things because it's what's taught to them. Like boys are taught, a lot of times boys are judged by the amount of girls they can get, and a lot of times girls judge each other. Like girls, like they get, if they young girls like 13, 14, oh I'm dating he's a sophomore and I'm in ninth grade, I'm in 8th grade, and my boyfriend's a junior, or I got a college boy. Like these are all stuff when you were a kid. These are stupid things that little girls and little boys talk about, and then you grow up and forget, and like, oh, why are boys like this? Well, I don't know. Why don't you ask some of your peers who was in middle school and high school doing dumb shit? So we all do stupid stuff when we're young. So yes, you're right. I think a lot of this stuff needs to be taught around, like, I want to say junior high. Like it needs to be taught then.
Do
Middle
you think
school.
it should be like a part of the school's curriculum? Like it's a school's job to be teaching these kids this?
Why not? They
That's.
teach everything else.
I mean, yeah, because when a child's in school, the majority of the time is spent at school and not on with the parents.
It's a fact.
I feel like it should, but that doesn't give the parent any leeway to not do it. Like I feel like sometimes you gotta bite the bullet.
What's the right
You gotta
age?
sit down with your kid.
To teach your
For
kid?
me,
Yes. No, for anything, because a lot of kids want it. A lot of parents will, in an ideal world, will want their kid to be a child for as long as possible. So what is the right age?
I feel
Well,
like
between the ages of like 16 and 13, which is the age that you said, Brandon, I would assume somewhere in middle school.
I was gonna say a little lower. That's
Go
because
ahead.
it's far.
Go ahead. Because I had a question for Sarah then, because here's where things start to get difficult, especially when I was saying last episode, it's hard for a father to raise a daughter. There's certain boundaries and certain questions that men, especially when they have daughters, are kind of wary of asking for privacy, especially the older they get. Mothers don't usually seem to have that issue, but you got a daughter and you just asking her about her sexual what she's doing, like in her life. Have that talk with her, assuming, and just making sure she knows, like, how would that talk not come across as a father being sticking his nose in a business where he's not supposed to be having his, like,
Well,
because a lot of,
his child's health is his business, and her sexual history could have to do with her health, whether it's an STD or even a pregnancy, because I'm sure no 13-year-old, 16-year-old, whatever, is about to be a parent by themselves. Like
well,
that's obviously their
you're right,
parents' business too.
it is. But when Ti came out with his, that thing
Uh,
with his daughter, obviously I'm not talking about that extreme, but there were women that was saying men don't have no business worrying about anything that their daughter is doing sexually. That's the mother's job. Like, you shouldn't be worrying about if your daughter's having sex or not. Like, that's her business. You shouldn't be worrying about it. And it's like, that's false. But a lot of women have this thing where it's like, it's not the father's job.
So here's the
and,
thing.
And on top, wait, before.
Nah, go ahead.
On top of that, just to, T.I. also, he spoke on this whole situation and how the media spun it out of control and used his words out of context, because he spoke about it and he jokingly said something, and then people took that part and like printed it and put it out there as fact.
Yeah.
And he took the time to clarify and tell the whole world of what his relationship with his daughter and her sexuality and all that, the role he played in it. So yeah, but
first of all, no, that's not. We're not gonna. I don't care. But there's the joke that he supposedly made, without any type of clear up. When he said it, he just said it. It was no ha ha ha. It was just a statement. You can't joke like that. So that's not a joke.
Oh yeah, he learned that.
Only a joke because it blew up, and even then he didn't say anything. But yeah, sorry, you can get it.
He did. He went on Red Table.
He didn't until
shout out to Jada.
He didn't, because he did that once his daughter told him not to, because she was already embarrassed enough. She was like, just don't say anything, and then she finally gave him permission to say something. But at the same time, who says that as a joke? Like, I'll get my daughter's hymen checked. Like, what?
The thing is, one, first and foremost, you just put your daughter. The craziest part about it, you put your daughter's business out in the public like that. Like, that is so personal to her. First of all, you shouldn't be telling nobody, but to go on a multimedia platform and say it for the world to hear, that's her business, one. Two, you said it in a way that made you feel like you owned her body. Like, you just wanted to know she was a virgin. You weren't like, show me some STD results or something like that. You were like, I want to know if her hymen broke. And even if a woman's hymen is broken or whatever, it doesn't mean they had sex. Like, he said that the doctor told him in the podcast, he said the doctor told him it could have to do with riding a bike, riding a horse, like, just if you're a sports player or whatever, it's just based on friction, I guess.
Yeah, he said he learned.
Yeah, but it's still like the way he said it was just so strange to me. Like, why is that your business?
But that's what I'm saying to you. Like, that's an extreme, but women feel like men shouldn't be worried about it. Like, when a girl's in a period, a lot of women feel like men shouldn't have any influence or anything to say revolving around that, because they don't know what they're talking about. So
you're missing the point. Well, maybe I'm not explaining it.
I'm asking you a question. How you feel? I'm not missing any point. I'm asking.
So when I first heard him say it, I was like, for real, bigging him up. Like, yes, T.I., you better be a responsible father. Like, you care about.
It's not about T.I. I just brought him up as an example. I want you. I'm asking.
No. This is like a general thing I'm about to say. But in the case of T.I., I was like, yes, T.I., you should be like you're a progressive father. You know, you're checking on your daughter's health in a way that most men will probably feel uncomfortable to do. But at the end of the day, like, it does come down to health. Like, you should know about your daughter's body and stuff. Like, I know I used to work at this job, and like, everyone knew when I had my period because I would just be pissed, and they would leave me alone because they had daughters. Like, the manager had a daughter around my age, and the fact that he knew enough to be like, all right, I know, like, this isn't easy for women to go through, especially at work, especially as a cashier, because you got to stand up for 8 hours a day, like, which is crazy. In Europe, they don't do that well, by the way. I know me and you were in the same boat at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should know about women's bodies, especially if you plan on having a daughter. You will learn more too by being in a relationship with a woman or by having a daughter, just by being around them and not being afraid to have a conversation. But you should know. Why wouldn't you want to know?
I mean, that it's all I feel like it's all a case of your approach with it. Like, of course, nobody can tell you how to be a father or a parent to your child, but like, especially so you can have your kid, because that's what's most important. Have your kid feel secure in them learning about themselves and figuring it out. Like, yeah, so you could just be, like T.I. said, a supporter. Like, be there for support. Like, if your daughter wants to do something, if your son wants to do something because
That wasn't support.
especially for okay.
What he did in particular, he might have thought it was.
What he
but it
said,
wasn't.
when he cleared up, he wasn't even in the room. Like, and one he was there. He wasn't in the room. I think he said the mother was in the room, but he was.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened. But his explanation as to the responsibilities as to what his daughter and his his son, if they were to have gotten pregnant, like, it's not my business until it is, right? So if it's not my business, then it's not my business when you get pregnant. Or same with my son. Like, if it's not my business, then when you get a girl pregnant, like, you on your own.
The thing is the way you go about it. That's what I'm saying. Like, you should want to know, but you should have asked her. Like, he was doing that without her knowing, acting like
he
getting
wasn't.
those results.
That's the thing. He wasn't.
She said she didn't. All right, I don't want to go on a TI tangent right now. It's about
the daughter.
Yes.
That she didn't want. No.
She didn't know that, like, he was getting the results behind her back and doing that every year.
He asked the doctor.
Exactly. He asked the doctor.
But my mom be asking the doctor about my results behind my back all the time. Like,
but what I'm saying is, if you wanted to be supportive, you could have asked.
What, your daughter, the child?
Yes. Why not ask the child?
Because when a child,
because they were a child.
When you go to the doctor you ever went to the doctor as a child? Yeah. I don't know.
Bro, she was 16 or 18 or something.
Still under parental control.
About your sexual history, but I know for me, if I go to it as a child, as a kid who's sexually active, if I go in with my parents and the doctor says, "Are you sexually active?" I'm always going to say no. I'm
right.
My
the doctor.
My business. No, because my parents are there, and also if the parents want to ask the doctor, I don't want them to know. So I'm going to say no. My parents ask me straight up, I'm going to say no, especially if I know my parents aren't going to be supportive or accepting of the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing because of responsibilities that I'm not taking. So I don't. Who knows that his daughter would have even said that she was. He believes that his daughter's a virgin, and she very well might be. But I'm not ignorant and I'm not stupid, so I don't know. I'm not going to say, oh, yeah, she said she's not, so she's not. Like,
how do you expect to have the birds and the bees talk if you don't sit down and ask them questions like this?
Because that's the birds and the bees talk usually comes when the child comes to the father or the mother, not the other way around. No parent usually is going to go to their kid and just be like, hey, you want to know? Like, that doesn't happen. It's when a kid is curious enough to bring up that question, and then you talk. Usually the parent don't go to the kid and ask. When a parent goes to the kid and asks, the kid gets all uncomfortable and like, no, I'm not. So
the moral of the story is you should know. You should want to know, but the best way I would recommend is to ask the child, because you don't own nobody or their bodies.
You don't, but you gotta be sure that your kid is gonna be able to tell you the truth.
Yeah, all I was gonna say.
And you do that by educating them and hope.
I don't know what you just said, but
I didn't hear it. Yeah, I don't know what you said either. Froze.
No, you froze.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, damn, now I remember what I said. Yeah, the best thing you can do is just educate them and then hope they make the best decisions from there. That's how I feel about it.
That's life.
That's a fact.
But have you told your parents everything you've done in your life?
Oh, hell no.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
I'm getting there.
Nope.
Shout out to you, Will.
No.
That way is definitely.
If they ask me, I may, as an adult, I may tell them, because what are you gonna do now? I'm grown. What are you gonna do? But as a child, still who could still get disciplined and in certain things. Yeah, no, I'm not telling you. No.
No.
So,
you think that was the best thing to do?
Who?
What T.I. did in that example?
I never said that.
I'm asking.
You want to go?
Go ahead. I'll go after you. Unless you think you're gonna be going.
No. I feel like his approach was crazy. I feel like in the context of that podcast episode, whatever they was talking about, because I did not listen to the podcast episode. It was crazy. That I wouldn't even. Yeah, we don't joke like that. We just don't joke like that. But in his response to that podcast and all the backlash that he got from that, like, I can see where he sets himself up in his daughter's life as far as being a father, being a supportive father, and for his sons as well. And if it works for them, if it rocks for them until they're old enough to be on their own, then cool. So,
I wouldn't. I could care less about a hymen. because that means nothing to me. It being there, I guess. What will your facial expression?
Nah, he's right. The doctor
that
literally
was
said it don't
wild.
mean
I
nothing.
mean,
No, I been knew that, but I don't care about a hymen. Like, if obviously there's no way for me to know it's intact, but if a doctor said, "Oh, her hymen's intact," I guess I know she's not having sex. But if a doctor says it's not, that does not mean that she's having sex. So, especially if you have an active daughter who plays sports, so that means nothing. What I would have done if I wanted to get the information without asking my daughter, I would have asked the mother. I would have went to my wife and said, "Hey, like, what did the doctor say? Like, what are the results? What is this? What's that? Blah blah blah."
That's also a fair approach.
Huh?
I said that's also a fair approach.
I would ask my wife, because that's us. I'm not gonna go behind the family's back and go to the doctor who's not even allowed to tell me.
That's what I'm like. Who gave you a PhD?
So
I thought y'all not.
No, the doctor didn't tell him. He got mad.
Didn't. I thought he did.
No, he got mad at the doctor because the doctor kept telling him he wasn't going to tell him. He
Yeah.
couldn't. He's not obligated to. But like, I'm not. The doctor can't tell me. I would go to my wife if I wanted to avoid going to my daughter, and I know my wife was in the room. Like, what was said? Like, what's going on? This and that. Like, because that's my wife, and we both have the best interest in our child's future, or what our child's doing right now that could impede their future. So.
There's no real way to monitor that, like you said. Like,
there's no.
Hymen is not really going to tell you much.
There's not, but me and Will had this talk before, just about sex, and not all kids take the right, precautions or responsibilities. So, right. Who knows? If I ask my kid, "You having sex?" and they tell me no, but then 3 months later it's like, "Hey, Dad, like, I'm pregnant," or "Hey, Dad, like, I gotta go pregnant," or "Hey," like, then clearly you was lying to me, because that math don't add up. So who knows what can happen, and who knows what STDs or whatever the case may be. Who knows? You can get yourself in trouble. Like, you never know. You didn't think that you was doing anything wrong, but then it comes out that she accusing someone of rape, and you like, "Oh, I did." She said yes, but there's so many different factors into what can be considered rape. You're too young to understand that. This are all the things we have to talk about, and kids aren't ready to talk to their parents about it, and kids also aren't ready for the consequences. So they lie until they can't lie anymore, and then the truth comes out. So yes, like, you can't always talk to your kid and just believe them. You have to do other things, or
I didn't say, yeah, no, you're right. I didn't say believe them, because they probably will lie, but I'm saying you should give them at least the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm opening this conversation with you.
You should, if they don't give you a reason to not believe them. But we've all been kids, and we've been around kids. So if your kid has never given you, or doesn't usually give you, a reason to not believe them, then by all means, you ask them a question, they give you an answer, then yes. But if your kid has a history of lying, or they don't have a history of lying, but because they don't, and they give you an answer, you like, like, you're not a good liar. Like, you should, we shouldn't be dumb. Like, we should at least, you obviously don't go fucking trying to get a private investigator and follow your kid. Like, but yeah, you can't get the answers. The outside, I always say, and parents don't agree with this statement I'm about to say, but your influence on your child is not the end all be all. When your child leaves the house, your influence is in their head, and that's it. You're struggling with the influence of their friends, of their teachers, whatever the case may be. Like, your influence, you can only hope that your voice is heard in your child's head when they're about to make a decision. That's it. But they have friends they're around, and they want to be cool with their friends, so they might do certain things that they know is wrong, but it's fun, right?
I
agree. You can't stop that. So who knows what's going on? You can only do so much as a parent. You can just hope that you're putting them on the right path, and that's it. That's really all you can do. Even if you decide,
it's scary.
And locking them up, like, a lot of parents, you can't go outside, or no.
Oh no, you making the worst kind of kid if you're locking them up like that.
You could, but here's what happens: your kid might end up having all straight A's in high school. Your kid might end up being a very nice, very cool kid, very obedient, whatever. Once they leave for college, it's over. That kid, that freedom, they don't know how to handle it. So now, I've seen a lot of girls and a lot of guys flunk out, or just go crazy just because they got some freedom. Crazy. And it's like, like, that's wild. Like, but
facts.
So yeah, the parents, some parents can't admit, like, parents don't like to admit they're bad parents. Parents don't like to admit, like, they fucked up, that they need to learn and grow. a lot of parents don't want to admit that shit. So they stay, and their kid will talk to them and they don't want to change because their way is their way and they know better all the time. And don't take their kids, their feelings into consideration when they're talking to them. And it's like, a lot of times you may be doing the right thing, but sometimes you maybe not be doing the right thing. And you might not be doing the best thing. And your kid might resent you for it. A lot of kids, their parents force them to be doctors, and they're like the smartest kids all throughout high school, and then they grow up and it's like trying to commit suicide, or like they flunk out of college or whatever the case may be, because they've resented everything that their parents did. So
yeah, that's sad to hear too. A lot of people, like, as they're older in college or high school or whatever, or even a full-grown adult, just realize, like, I'm everything that my parents wanted me to be, but I am nothing like the person I wanted to be, because they've had that kind of like guilt pretty much placed on them by their parents. Like, you need to be this, you need to be that, you need to be in law school or whatever. And then they realize they hate law school or something like that, and they end up dropping out.
Facts.
And it's crazy.
Facts.
Like, the younger, like, no matter what age you are, your biggest influence change. So like when you're a toddler or you're a child, it's like your parents, and then like when you get to middle school, it's like your friends, and then high school, it's like maybe like a coach and some friends, and then college, it's like always a different group of people in the stage of your life.
The biggest influence it's the detriment, Will's favorite word, detriment to society is the influence and the glorification of celebrities.
The internet, I was
that
gonna say
internet,
that.
so that social media fame, it's like if a fantasy being pushed, and that kills. So yeah.
That's wow, it's so wild. But I also feel like parents are afraid, like, if they did have sex ed or whatever in schools, that it's kind of like giving their kids the green light to have sex, because like they feel like, oh, it's all right to do it if we're learning about it in school.
Can't stop it from happening either way. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Once you go through like puberty, and you start discovering your body, and then you start discovering other bodies outside of you, you be like, oh snap, that curiosity, that's something that's innate. Like, you can't prevent that, you can't curate that. Like, there's no stopping that.
True, but it's less of a curiosity if you're educated on it, or maybe it's more, I don't know.
No, it's just like parenting. Like, you can tell your kid not to do this, don't do that, don't do that. Most kids are like, why not? And you tell them why not, you're like, that can't happen to me. And then like most kids got to experience something to learn from it. So you talk about sex, and it's like you're learning about it. Sex is not something you could just sit there and learn about. I don't care who you're talking to. I don't care what anybody ever tells you in life. Sex is one of those things where it's like you can't just hear about it to know about it. Like, it's difficult to understand certain things in life unless you've done it. So any kid in life is going to be curious about sex until they do it, because that's just a fact. Like, as kids, you're judged on it. You go throughout school and like you get made fun of if you're still a virgin. Like, so most kids is like, if they haven't had sex yet, like that's all that's on their mind. Like, you're trying to find a girlfriend because they want to have sex. Like, they're trying to find ways. I've heard people say, oh, you still a virgin? Like, yo, I'll go up right now. Like, you, like, all that, like, because that's like especially for dudes. I don't know about girls. I know y'all had y'all cliques, and y'all talked about y'all things that y'all don't want to admit to, but it's okay.
Another topic, another
yeah,
episode.
but for boys, for sure, like, the number of bodies that you have is usually looked upon as like that. The higher it is, the more you're looked up as like, you're the dude, right? Like, if you ain't have sex, and it's like no one really cares, it's not like you're gonna get bullied for it, but it's like you I don't know how to explain it. Because it's definitely something that's joked about.
It's weird, yeah. I was about to say, like, I've heard boys bully other boys into not being a virgin, if that makes sense. Like that, like, you bully someone so bad that you just want anybody at this point. And it's so weird that, like, I don't know, they let it get to their heads. It's like, I don't know, it's masculinity, I guess. I can't relate, but
it's definitely I would say it's an archetype. Like, it's something that's been designed for us to follow as we develop into adults. Like, just by a natural way, or like you're supposed to be doing this around this age. You're supposed to be you're supposed to have these types of experience by this age. And if you're not, if you don't, if that's not how it works for you, then there's something wrong with you, or you lack. You know what I mean? Like for men, like you not popping, like you're not that dude. You're not. You know what I mean? You don't get respect because of that. But
I believe it to an extent.
But to an extent.
That by a certain age you should have experienced certain things in life. I believe that to an extent. One thing I hear from women all the time, this is undeniable, that it comes out of a lot of their mouths, is they don't want to teach. So so they don't like the fact that men are the way men are, but at the same time they want men to have experience so that they don't have to teach them certain things, so that they can,
and vice versa too.
vice versa, so that they can fulfill. Vice versa, crazy, because men want women to be able to do this, that, and the third, but then like, well, you got more than 10 bodies. It's like, yo, bro, you want an experienced chick, right, and she come to you and she tell you she got 15 plus possibly, and it's like, oh, well, I can't fuck with you. How many you got? I don't know, like 60. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, but like, yeah. So I've heard women say, like, they don't want to teach. Women bully men too, right? So I don't understand, because I've never really had the issue. But like, men, I guess women will be like, oh, I don't want to teach a man, or like they'll make fun of men if they have small, penises, or they make fun of men if they can't last very long. So there's certain things that men have to fabricate or live up to in order to fulfill a woman's desires, or whatever the case may be. And it's more pressure if you haven't even ever had sex before. So before you even go into it, you're already shit-faced scared, because it's like, women are worse than men when it comes to sex. Judging. It's a fact. Women, you can say anything, and you'll shoot down a man's ego worse than they'll ever show you. Like, it's crazy. So it goes both ways, but you guys don't give yourself enough credit for the like, you don't give yourself enough credit. Yeah, say some hurtful shit, and it'd be like, oh damn, like, okay. So men, yes, I say, for men at least. I don't know about women. I don't know how you feel, but for men, I feel like men should, by a certain age, experience certain things, just to be able to know what to expect, or just get through all those things. You don't want to be obviously there's no age, like there's no set age, but I don't feel like you want to be like a 30-year or 40-year-old man, and it's like you haven't really experienced anything in life, and you meet the girl you want, but she like don't want you because like you can't please her. Like, and that becomes, like, people say sex is not an important thing, but sex is an important part of a relationship. It's proven the fact that it's an important part of it. You can be like the best man or the best girl in the world. If you're not pleasing that person sexually, then they're going to cheat, or they're going to leave you. It's just a fact. So, I don't know.
It's all about finding your match, I guess. Like, people definitely say hurtful things on no matter who you can to. It's always, I don't know why, like, everyone loves to bring up gender wars.
No, I say that. I say that because, all right, you know what? You're right.
I said what?
Huh?
How I said what?
How you said what?
I said how gentle you said that. You was like,
how gentle I said
it.
I
ain't say that.
No.
I mean, because I could only. Nah, you're right. No, I mean, no. I've definitely heard terrible things from both sides of the coin. Like, no one's innocent in this thing.
It has to be a gender war, because there are certain things where, like,
it has to be. God, this world is terrible.
Here's why I'm saying that. Because right now it doesn't benefit you, so it can't be a gender war thing. But you've said multiple things, even in this podcast alone, not even including the other ones, where you've said things where it's like men, and it's like, well, women do it too. So you got it. It has to be a gender war across the board. It can't just be when it doesn't benefit your gender. You know what I mean? So
no, I mean, I'm sure I have said it, but when I say things like that, because I'm in the presence of two men, I would hope that you would say something to educate me, so I wouldn't say something like that in the future.
All right, so say something to educate me. But you can't leave, but it can't be a gender war when it can be implied that both of us, me, you, and even Will, have both been we both said it. We both said, "Oh, men only do," or "women do." Like we've all said it, so we can't like just, "Oh no, it's not just." And I say it. I say men and women all the time. So that's what I'm saying. Like I've said, and I definitely Will corrected me, and I was like, "Yo, look, hey, men are really really bad when it comes to women and sex. Like it's bad." So I understand. You can correct me. But I just say the reason why I say that it has to be gender war because almost every conversation always leads between a man and a woman always leads to men only do this, or but women do this, but men do this. So it's like I get it.
But I don't know. War to me, like war is being combative. But if you ask because you're trying to come from a place of understanding, that's not a war to me. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like you ask questions to learn. I'm a big question person. I'm not asking you because I want to fight with you. I'm not asking you because I want to prove you wrong. I'm asking because I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. As someone who's coming from a perspective who is so far from yours that I have no idea why you think the way you do. So let me ask, because maybe I could think similarly to you, or at least understand the point of view that you're trying to portray.
I get what you're saying. And when I said women don't give yourselves enough credit for the hurtful things that are said, I'm not saying that men don't do that. But
I'm sure you guys hear a lot, especially Black men, because y'all got that stereotype about,
so
out.
I talked about how men bully men when it comes to being a virgin, but it hurts more for a man to hear it from a woman. And you guys say certain things and you will laugh, but men don't really make fun of other men about their penis size or whatever the case may be, unless like they're males. Yo, you probably got small like. And no man is going to get in their feelings if another dude say you got a small penis, unless they're gay, right? So like, and unless it's two gay men, and like, oh, you got a small penis. Like,
that's why it hurts more from women.
It hurts way more. And what I'm saying is, but you got,
which would make sense.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying. So when I say like you guys don't give yourself enough credit, there's certain things that you guys say in the moment during sex that it's like, damn, like I don't even want to do this no more. Like, so that's what I'm saying. It hurts more hearing it from a woman. That's why I said that. So I should have been more clear. But for a guy, it
makes
more.
sense. Yeah, you don't want to hear something bad about your body when you're literally in the act
naked,
of
like
being with someone you're attractive to. Yeah, that's a vulnerable moment for real. Like,
so I'm just saying, like I said, so certain things and penis size
say what you want.
Is for it's not one thing. Like one girl might be like, oh, it's so big, and another one's like, oh, you're so small. Like you don't know. It's I guess case by case. Who knows? So you can't really take that with a grain of salt. I mean you have to take it with a grain of salt. But there's just certain things that said that you just don't want to hear in the moment, or you don't want to hear at all. Which is why like when I think it is even, but I don't think that's pushed enough. Like I think that it's implied that men are worse when it comes to certain things, and talk about certain things in their groups, like how men over, I guess they care about sex more and there's certain things. When it's like I've been around cliques and I've heard women, and the way you guys speak about sex is just as bad, and it's like that doesn't get talked about enough. And what you got to expect out of a guy, it can't, pressure is on a woman to perform, yes, but you guys put a lot of pressure on us. It's the same. And whenever it's convenient, we like to act like we don't do that. And we do, both of us. So I get what you're saying about the gender wars, but when I say that it has to be, it's because both sides like to conveniently forget that they talk about. And it's usually the girls, because I've always heard, especially with the feminist movement starting to grow, like women act like they wasn't in high school before on these cliques. And like they didn't talk about like a dude's bulge or like a dude's ass walking by. Like they didn't overly sexualize these guys for their muscles and stuff like that. Oh, you guys body shame us. Well, you guys always wanted the freaking Prince Charming with the muscles and the nice facial features and shit like that. Like, you didn't care about the kid that actually cared for you. You wanted the fairy tale. Like you body shamed us too. So, but no one talks about that. Women have it so hard, and men can't talk about their feelings. So I don't know. But that's why I say, like, we have to
deep, man.
We have to be, if we can't talk about, not us as a species, if we can't talk about that, then it's always going to be a gender war. So
that's a fact. If you can't be honest, if you can't be realistic, it's clip.
No, I think the biggest I guess body shaming, because it is body shaming thing with men, is like women's height expectations. That's
Nah,
like a huge
nah,
thing that I
Not
always see on
really.
that's a
Twitter.
big thing, but that's not
No,
that's nowhere near the only.
really?
That's a
That
big
is a
thing.
big thing that I
But
always hear.
it's not nowhere near. Like, yes, of course height is, but you'd be surprised like what you guys want from a guy. It'd be just like, yo, so you don't want any dude. You looking for a movie character. That's what it be
Yeah,
sounding like. It be sounding like you looking for a fairy
yeah.
tale. Um
Yo, there's
uh
a I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. There's a video of this on YouTube of a former matchmaker turned relationship coach, and she divulged the information about having female clients and the women having impossible expectations and like standards for men that they wanted the matchmaker to go out and find. And she was like, yo, like, in all of her years of doing it, she was like, yo, a lot of these women be asking for men, and statistically, like, getting like qualities like height, a certain tax bracket, like salary, um, having a certain like spiritual and like religious values, like being straight, like sexual orientation, like all of these things like statistically narrowed it down so crazy that she couldn't find men that these women wanted. But she did find good men who had like maybe didn't have one or two of the qualities, and then the woman was like, oh nah, I can't. Or like she didn't see the whole process
She
through.
wasn't open to it.
Yeah, and I'm like, and when I heard that, I was like, I'm not surprised, unfortunately, but it was telling because it got so bad for her. She left matchmaking and just like was transitioned over to a relationship coach / speaker and all that. So that's telling that she gave it up because women were wilding out and they were passing up good men because of these expectations that they created in their head. I wish I knew her name, like off rip.
Yeah, no,
Let me
that
find it.
doesn't seem like a fun job at all. But yeah, no, the whole point, I guess, is finding a match, what works for you. And yeah, I guess like there's not much you could say about that. People are terrible too. I never heard guys speak so honestly about the insecurities that they might hear because of women's insults.
they can't.
Yeah.
They can't. We're not allowed to. I mean, we're not given the platform or the space to do that. Generally,
Yeah, no,
her
I
name
guess
is oh, I'm sorry.
no, say her name. I don't
Her
know.
name is Rebecca Lynn Pope. Yeah, real solid woman. I watched a couple of her videos. Real solid advice. It gave me a lot of answers to a lot of questions that I had. So yeah, Rebecca Lynn Pope.
Questions on what?
Women.
What is
All right,
her
so
I mean, I don't know if she said this in the video, but did she say like her accuracy rate in finding these couples? Like, what's her stats?
well,
'Cause
she
she
didn't.
just
You
She
think
didn't.
she
She
didn't
didn't
talk about
divulge.
it.
She didn't divulge like all of that, like specific. She didn't give a breakdown, but she said that the 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 accuracy rate and her finding the matches, her accuracy was spot on as far as like qualities for qualities, but as far as the women being receptive to what she offered, it fell flat because of these expectations, and that led to frustration within her business
Nah,
and all
I
that.
see what you're saying. I don't know. I find that career to be fascinating. Like, how do you do that? But that's just me. This is me being cynical. Do you guys believe in soulmates? Because that's how you find your so-called match. That's how you find the one.
I don't think soulmate has to be your partner, your
Mm.
significant other. I think a soulmate can be anybody in your life. Um,
Talk to him, man. You gotta talk to him, bro.
So yes, I do believe in them. I just don't think that the idea of a soulmate is looked at in an expanded, open-minded scenario type. Like I don't think that people think about it in certain the way it should be thought about. So you go through life like, oh, she got to be the one. Like, what if that person that you was talking to, like, your best friend for like years, that you got into an argument and like got too prideful to talk? What if that was your soulmate, right? your soulmate, like someone like you could just talk to, share ideas, like just naturally always good vibes. Like, what if that's your soulmate and you out here searching for one because you don't know what a soulmate is? So
Yeah, it could be your friends. I agree with that too.
Ooh, that was dope. All right, so I'm not gonna be long winded. I'm trying not to be long winded, but funny enough, today I was watching an episode of The Real. I don't know if y'all know the talk show.
I used to love
Um,
it. But that was a while ago.
mad people say that. Mad people say that. But yeah, in the episode, they spoke specifically about soulmates, and a couple of the women, I think Tia and Jeannie, two of the hosts.
before you go, can you give your what? Can you answer the question? Like, do you believe in soulmates?
Uh oh, this was
I know,
leading
but
into
like
me,
I
bro.
know, I know, I know. But that's how it gets long winded.
One soulmate. No, I don't believe in one soulmate, and the reason why I don't believe in one soulmate is of because in life as people we evolve you evolve as a person. Hopefully you evolve as a person as you learn and grow and have certain experience in the world, and sometimes the person that you think is your soulmate um may not be growing at the same rate, or y'all may grow into two different paths and going down two different roads. So that doesn't mean that you don't have love for them or like you don't care for them or anything like that. It's just the fact that like y'all are on two different
Then that wouldn't be.
pages in the book.
I guess that wouldn't be a
And
soulmate.
facts. So
So then,
in the show, that's why I feel like I don't believe in like one soulmate. I feel like you you can bump into your soulmate depending on where you are in life. Like depending on where you are mentally, emotionally, your soulmate can walk right by you, but because you probably have preconceived notions or societal norms, like, oh, it's only supposed to be one person, and let's just say, oh, you think that you're with that one person, you probably just miss your soulmate type situation. Um, and on the show they
but then
talk
that,
about
but then
that.
that would mean that you believe in one soulmate. You just don't believe. So you believe that you're talking about if you don't find it, but you just what you just said
Right.
contradicts what you said just now contradicted what you said you don't believe in one
No,
soulmate, but just said that you can be with somebody you think is your soulmate, and your soulmate can walk by you, which means you do
yeah,
believe in
yeah, and
soulmates.
that's what no, that's why I feel like me personally, I don't believe in it. Like believe in one being like
But what I'm saying
being the
is,
case.
what you're saying is you could be with the person you think is your soulmate, and it's not. That's what you just said.
Okay.
So that means that you do believe in one soulmate, because that means you're admitting that the person that you what could possibly not be your actual soulmate. It's what you think is your soulmate, but the real soulmate could walk by you in life, which means you do believe
Right.
in one soulmate, right? You know
But
what I'm
not
saying to you?
me.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what do you believe in? And
I believe that you can potentially you have a okay. I feel like you have a set, like not a set number of people, but there are a number of people that can potentially be your soulmate. So like right now in the world, right? And we
no, a mate, soulmate.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you don't believe in the one, what people
I
say
don't
to be the
I
one.
don't I don't believe in a I don't I believe in
Don't contradict
I
yourself
don't
now.
be, I don't believe in a one in terms of you have to well, you meet a person, everything's good, and it's like y'all stay together because that's what it is. That's what it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be written out. That's how the book is supposed to be written out. And like, yeah, everything could be going good with y'all, like as far as how y'all get along and all that. But let's just say there becomes a point in life where you guys come to a standstill, or one person's grown more than the other, like, and you thought that this was your soulmate, but then like because of you evolving as a person, you realize that damn, like, ah, maybe it's not my soulmate. Like maybe like we are very compatible together, and we have like this thing that attaches us in a soulmate type of way, but like this is not what I need this is not what this is not the type of soulmate I need currently because I'm going this way and you're over here.
So your
So your answer is no.
Yeah,
You don't believe.
I said no. I said no.
Yeah, so you don't believe in soulmates at all. You said you don't believe in one.
I don't believe in one. Yeah, I don't believe in one.
But what you're saying means that you think that that's your soulmate, and you're wrong about it. Which means that it wasn't actually your soulmate. What I'm saying to you,
I believe you can have multiple.
You believe in it or you don't. You can't just pick and choose like, oh, that's that. Okay. You know what that? So wait, you know what that sounds like? Line, it sounds like, oh, she's the one. Oh, she's the one for me, and then you break up. Oh, she wasn't the one. Oh no, she's the one for me.
Yeah,
actually.
You sound like you believe in the moment.
Like. That's not a soulmate. That's like someone. That's just someone being real gullible and what they call that stage when you just in love. The
hopeless romantic.
Nah, you real lustful. Hopelessly romantic. Like you're real lustful. That's not soulmates.
What's the difference between so I can understand you? What is the difference between multiple soulmates and just being in love with someone and then just realizing it didn't work out? Like, how do you differentiate the ex who you used to love between that was just one of my soulmates, if that makes sense?
Personally, I don't feel like I don't know. I don't think I ran into my soulmate or a soulmate for me, personally, but they say that like when it's your soulmate or it's like the one that was meant for you or like so it's like you can tell like off rip like from the beginning, and that sentiment is not pigeonholed to one person. So I'm not saying that you're walking around here like hopeless romantic style, like ooh, no, but it's like in your life, in your walks through life, and in your stages in life, you might run into a person that's like, oh snap. But because of societal norms, it's like, nah, I already have this one. So now I'm conflicted because I feel this way towards another person that I can tell, or like it just that feeling and that connection is there, but I'm already with somebody.
How do you define soulmate? Because to me, a soulmate is forever. Like it ain't no breakup. Yeah. Like,
it could be like you don't believe that you could be with somebody like you in love with, that's your soulmate, and then like it just don't work out, but y'all remain friends throughout life. Yeah. And that could be your soulmate. You didn't work out, but
break up like I'm just like I'm never gonna see you again type of thing. That's what, because like you said, a soulmate could be a friend. Like you don't break up with a friend. I mean, you could.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, Brandon, because also that's behind my sentiment and what I think. Like a soulmate doesn't have to be just strictly romantic.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like strictly but still what you're saying doesn't add up to what you're trying to say. Like I get what you're saying, but either you don't believe in it or you do, because what you're saying means either you're saying that you believe that you can pick and choose, or like soulmates fade away throughout your life and you have to find another one. That's what it sounds like you're saying. Right. Like you could find someone that might be a soulmate, and then you believe there's your soulmate and they're actually your soulmate, and then it just don't work out, and then you find someone else that could fill that role. And in my definition, that's not what a soulmate is. Like I think you can find your soulmate, right? Or you might never find your soulmate. There's lust stages romantically. There's lust stages where you really feel like, oh, this is the one, right? The soulmate, the idea of a soulmate is lost in that lust stage, right? If you can make it out that lust stage, right, and you make it into the real moments, you really know if that's your soulmate or not. Like you can tell if you're being honest with yourself. You may not ever tell that person that you don't feel like they're the one for you, but you stay with them. But if you're being honest with yourself, you can tell if that person is really the one after the lust stage, right? So once you get out that stage, if you think in your head that she might not be, she's not, which means that's not your soulmate, which means she or he is still out there or is somebody already in your life, right? What I'm saying to you is that if that's what you're trying to say, then that means that you do believe in just one soulmate, but you just didn't find it. That lust stage is very deceptive. Right. So that's what you got to be able to pick it out and make it through that stage to find out. Because lust, you be thinking like, yo, I'm gonna be with this person forever, and it's like, nah, like you get to know that person, like, see, I don't really fuck with you like that anymore. But
that's a good point. Like, but no, that's a good point. Period. Point blank. For me though, like bottom line, like I believe that there's not just one soulmate. like people by way of certain different types of relationships could be, you know, could find their like find a partner, find like a compatible partner that they click very well with, and that um they possibly could like grow in their relationship as one. And
So
it's not
explain your idea of a soulmate, because you really losing me. You got it, like what
a
Sarah said.
soulmate is for to me in my to me, a soulmate is somebody who is essentially like develops into like your ride or die, like in that kind of like mentality, um, in which like no matter what, no matter how hard it gets, shout out to Will, shout out to Will Smith, no matter how hard things get,
I was
I'll
like, shout
love
out
you
to yourself.
unconditionally. Nah.
I
I'll love
got
you
you.
unconditionally through anything, and that could be for a friend. Like I have bros that I love unconditionally as my bro. Like I'm not gonna like it's not like oh like I'm walking around saying oh that's my soulmate. No, but like that unconditional love that I have for my brothers as my brothers, um, like that is something that is like, you know what I mean, through thick and thin, like through the words, like through disagreements, through like stuff that like totally go against my belief systems, like that's still my bro. And
Yeah,
that's sort of along the lines of what I'm getting at.
you
As
about to
far
say
as
something?
that.
Yeah, what about like the unconditional love between like a parent and their child? Like, is that a soulmate?
Nah, that's a good point.
I
Got you there.
mean, that's a great point. But in that situation, I feel like that's somebody who comes from you. You know what I mean? In a biological, spiritual way. Like, let's be clear.
Here's
So
my
when it,
here's go ahead, go ahead. You finish what you're about to say.
yeah, I'm good.
The only way I could possibly, and even then it's like still no. The idea of a soulmate could be, because my idea of a soulmate is something that transcends it transcends generations, right? Like something like it's like a
Space and time.
feeling. I feel like it's something like you meet somebody and spiritually, because I believe in auras. I believe in all that. Like I can
Believe in
be around
chakras?
somebody. That too.
Yeah, you have chakras in your body right
I
now.
believe you could be around somebody and not say a word, and like you get this feeling, you know, either you don't like them or you like them. Like it's just that feeling you get from them, and it's an aura that you sense, right? Like that's very real. I believe there's certain people you just connect with, right? There's some if in your idea of not believing in one, there have been people where I've been on the train and I'm just gravitated towards this one person. I don't know why, and we actually end up speaking out of nowhere. And I might never see that person again, but like it just felt like I knew that person. And that sense of assault, because like I think I believe that it can be a relationship that you had in your past life, right? Where I sometimes, because my
Whoa.
idea, I believe in reincarnation. I really do.
I
Yo,
could tell by that
yo, but
definition.
I was getting
Yeah.
there, but I was gonna let you. Yeah.
No,
Go ahead,
yeah,
yeah.
I believe in reincarnation, and I believe that you can find people that have been very close to you in the past life, scattered around the world, and you don't know why you're so attracted to that person,
Mm-hmm.
and not just sexually, but like just you're just attracted to that person, and you're like, why I feel like I know this person. You might
On
never
a
even
deeper
seen them
level,
before,
yeah.
and you talk to them, and it's just click, like, oh, like yo, we really, like, I really like this person, and you might never talk to them again, but it's like, yo, that was very natural. That could be a soulmate. So I get what you're trying to say, but
Yeah.
what you were explaining, I wasn't following you. But in the idea of not just having one soulmate, a soulmate doesn't have to be in your life. Like it could be somebody that you literally
Yeah.
meet in passing, and you just like, yo, like
Yeah.
who was that? Like,
Yeah.
so that I agree in that sense. So
Also to piggyback off that, like to break it down, like we all your soul, like it's just energy, right? And to your point, energy doesn't die. Energy never dies. It's only redistributed or it transfers, redistributed.
Yeah.
Um
No, it reminds
and
me of, sorry, it reminds me of
I go ahead.
something that Lauren London said about Nipsey Hussle. I can't remember exactly, but she said something like, I love you more than any human can understand. It was way profound than that, but it was basically like, I love you than the capacity of a lifetime, basically. Like
Yeah.
even in your afterlife, I will always love you. And it was just it kind of just reminds me of something like that Brandon said, like where
Yeah.
people could just feel a spirit lingering around.
And people, and that's a like when it comes to like this soulmate conversation, like people only relegate it to the physical, and more and even more they relegate it to romantically, like this is who I'm having my kids with, and you know what I mean, like having sex with, all this stuff, right?
That's how I
But
always thought of it.
and like a lot of people do, but on a deeper level, like Brandon said, like there there's something to be said about the spiritual world that people overlook or don't really understand or can't really comprehend, and like they dismiss auras, they dismiss like past lives, like you've been here before. If you don't believe it, you've been here before. That's why you have
And
you
and
have
it don't happen
certain,
often. Like you don't
and
go
it don't
outside
happen
every day
often.
and be like, oh, like it happens so rarely that it's like, yo, like why do I feel like I know it? So
And to be random as hell too, like
so yeah,
random. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
no, that was it. But yeah, that so
I
what
always thought of it as like
yeah.
a traditional sense, like Will said, like this is your one person, you've been through thick and thin with them, you have all these memories, all these experiences, and you'll love them way further than life can take. That's how I always thought of it. So, but you guys are opening me up to like a whole different world right now.
That traditional sense is something that like that's not to be like undermined either, because when you're with somebody, right, when you're with one person and your energies are interlocked and you are transferring your energies over years, over a certain amount of years, um essentially the energies merge into one energy. That's why like in biblically they'd be like man and woman, they become one, because essentially that energy that you have in you, you're constantly transferring that energy into another person by way of physical, emotional, all that, like just being close, just being together with one another. And like that's why you have situations where when people are married and they grow old, like when one partner dies, the other person like doesn't live too long after, because of that spiritual connection, that energy that's been binded through years and years of being around each other.
Or heartbreak.
Um, and heartbreak, of course. Yeah.
So
But losing that
yeah.
that it's kind of like losing a part of you,
Yeah, no, I
especially
But that
heard
usually
after
happens
years of.
when you're older though. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
that's true.
people are head over heels in love, they'd be like 20, 30 years old and they lose their partner and they live on for another 20, 30 years. So
Yeah.
I agree with that, but
Well,
what's up? Hmm?
Sarah.
no, oh my bad. I was gonna say no. Also, when you're young, like if you were 20 or 30, you probably haven't known each other for that long, I'm assuming. Like as opposed to people who've known each other for like 50, 60 years, whether it's like marriage or friendships. Because I actually heard a story of someone who passed like not too long after their it wasn't it wasn't it wasn't their partner, but it was someone they loved, and they passed not too long after them, and I was like, yo, did like is that considered like dying of heartbreak? You know what I mean? Because it was like there was no medical conditions prior or anything. Like it was pretty sudden.
a lot of a
I read
lot
it in
of
an article.
people like that you lose the person, like, a lot of people they mean it literally, like I can't live without you, like that literally. Imagine just someone is like your everyday, like that's just your everyday, your routine, just you're used to it. That's, I guess you can consider it a soulmate, but it's someone who is essential to your daily life, and then they're gone and you have to learn how, like you got to go to bed in that same bed and they're not going to be there. You
Adjust.
got to wake up and they're not going to be there. Like imagine that, and some people can't get past that. That's why. So I do agree it can happen young, because I've heard of people where their parents have died um kind of consecutively and they weren't that old. They'd be like 40 years old. But like, yeah, like you lose somebody that's your everyday life and you can't live like that. So a lot of people, that is heartbreak. It's like not.
So you think you can die from heartbreak?
Yeah, of course I
Yeah.
That's
believe
a
in that.
crazy thought. I
Yeah,
didn't believe in it
Yeah.
until like I read it in this article that was based on a true story or whatever. But I was like, yo,
people
that's wild.
that's, yeah, you can definitely die of heartbreak for real. Like, it won't happen on the spot, but yeah.
Mm.
So let me ask you this. Is it would you think it's more of a blessing that you were lucky enough to meet someone you love that much? Or do you think that's like low key it's detrimental because you died of a heartbreak? You died
Nah,
off of losing someone.
I don't even think it had. Some people, I guess they love each other that much, but a lot of people, it don't even got to be like just love. Like it's just like, cause I'm sure there's couples that like, you know, they're older. So the older you are, of course you have love, but you're not like young pup love. Like it's a different type of expressing it. So, um, yes and no. I don't think it's detrimental because if you died of heartbreak, that means you had a lot of love for that person. Um, and it's only detrimental to the people you left behind. Yourself, if you died of heartbreak, you didn't want to go on in the first place.
Hmm.
So
Mm.
it'd be more
Because
detrimental
people,
to you if you wanted to die and you lived on with the pain for years and years and years, just depressed and not living. Like you're alive, but you're not living because you're just sad. And
yeah.
who would have the audacity to tell you to get over it, right? Like, so
I guess it comes from that phrase like it's better to love and lose, better to be loved and lost and then never love at all, something like that. But it makes
yeah,
sense in this
I
scenario.
love love hurts. So like that's the worst part about it
Clearly, I
because
mean, people dying off
that's
heartbreak.
the worst part about it. Like they always like it's a double-edged sword because you invest so much emotion if you're lucky enough to fall in love with someone and live your life with them, but it don't last forever. And one is going to die before the other. It's just going to happen. So, I'm sure couples like have like you're like I hope I die first. I'm sure some people have said that like because they don't want to live without the
Yeah,
other one. And then
yeah.
and like, well, what do you mean? Why you want me to live without you? Like, why you want to die first? I can't live without you. Like stuff like that. Like people hope that they die first. They don't got to live with the pain. Like only people you hope you don't die before is your kids. I mean,
Yeah.
only people you hope don't die before you
Yeah, I got what you meant.
are
It's
your
your
Yeah, it's your
kids.
kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Facts,
um
facts.
so like you don't want to bury your kids, but other than that, like you don't want to really live longer. You don't want to live longer than your spouse
I
because
guess it's
you
an
don't
easier,
want to live without them.
yeah, it's an easier pill to swallow if you are older, in my opinion. Because if they're young and that happens, then you're like, damn, like she had such a long life to live. But once you're old, it's like, she lived a good life, at least count your blessings. Because a lot of people don't find that kind of connection with others. That's how I like to look at it, but I'm a bit optimistic.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, I don't know. I'm scared of that part. I'm not. I'm just the losing. I don't
It
want to
is
lose
scary.
parents. But those are different type of relationships. And I
Yeah.
can't say that I could live without them yet because I'm lucky enough to still have them in my life. Knock on wood, God forbid. That's not even wood. That's wood. Um, but
It's
people is what?
it's scary on paper to think
Yeah,
that like you're so dependent on someone that you literally cannot move on without them. But I also don't think those people regret anything.
Mm.
the people who died or the people who lived on.
Like the both. Because at the end of the day, you were lucky to find a strong bond that a lot of
Regret
people can't.
regret would definitely run through your mind if you lost someone. Like all the times you probably could have spent with them or things you could have done for them or with them that you didn't do because you didn't feel like it, and now you can't do it. So regret will always be there when you lose someone you care that much for because you feel like you didn't give them enough time, you didn't give enough of your energy, unless like you really feel like there was nothing more you could have done. But that's a perfect life that you live if you feel like there was nothing that you could have, nothing more you could have given. Everyone always feel that they could have given more. So I feel like that with my siblings sometimes. The older they get, I'm like, damn, like they're not the same anymore. Like I'm the oldest, and they're so like the older they get, it's like they're growing up, and it's like I look back at the old videos when they were kids, and it's like, they used to ask me all the time, you want it? And I'd be like, nah, I don't feel like it right now, like just because I didn't feel like it, and I get sad, like damn, I wonder if like I didn't give enough time as a kid, and how they view me, but I don't know.
Yeah. I guess regret is the wrong word because I definitely believe in regrets. I don't believe people who are like, I don't regret nothing because I learned this and the third. Like so the thing about me is I'll make the same mistake 5 times and I'll regret those 4 times I make a mistake. That one time, like, all right, it could have been a lesson, but those 4 times we could have done without that, sis. Like, you know what I mean? You could have learned from those other times instead of constantly repeating the same mistake. So I guess I mean, I do believe in regrets too. I also believe in soulmates though. What about you, Will?
Um,
What? What are you
no,
talking
not the
about?
soulmate.
Oh, I'm
So
about
you
to
talking
say
about the
what?
blessing, right? The is it a blessing
The
or a detriment?
regrets. No, yeah. Is it a blessing? Yeah. Not even a detriment, but would you look at it like, oh, at least she had a love that strong, or would you look at it like, damn, she died too early, kind of a thing, or they died too early? Like, is
What
it
was your
a
initial question?
the initial question was, would you look at like, say, a couple, like the one that I read about somewhere,
Uh,
and like one person died, and then
mm,
the other person died not too long after? Would you look at it as like, oh, that's a beautiful thing, like that they had a love and a bond that strong, or would you look at it like, oh, that's a sad story, um, like that person could have lived longer or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, is it a sad thing to
yeah.
you, or like, is it a beautiful thing? Not that the person died, but I'm saying the bond that they had.
Right. Um, it's interesting. Like I feel like a bond. I feel like you can never fully understand a bond between two people because you're not those two people. And
Right.
that's why I feel like people would say, "Oh, that's sad." Like that's sad, but you know they lived a good life together. They had kids. You know, they raised them. They had grandkids. All of it. You know what I mean? Like but yeah, I think I think it's a little of both. Well, for me personally, I feel like it's a little of both. Of course, death is it's inevitable, but when it hit, it's like you still like if you know the person or you know if you're sensitive to that type of to those type of things, it still hits. No matter how much you understand or comprehend what's going on and what happened, um, it still hurts. You still have to like you still go through a mourning process and all that. So but on top of it, like you gotta understand, like there's a lot of people who, you know, passed before their time or they never really uh experience deep true love like that. Um and it's only in like, you know, stories and um experiences that you've seen how they interact and the things that they've been through and then got out of, like that only, you know, deepen the love that they have for each other. Like things like that can help you appreciate it, can help you appreciate what was there, whether whether one person goes or both of them go. um so I feel like it's a little bit of both. Like you of course you're gonna have that sadness because you're still here, they're not. But if you try to control your thoughts and like really focus on the good times and all the lessons that you learned from them and the things that you took from them that you now use for yourself, I feel like that kind of like eases the pain a little bit. Man.
I agree. It's
Right.
it's how you feel.